In this video I'm going to show you how to take a 2D rectangle and turn it into a 3D object. So in the previous video I went through drawing a basic 2D rectangle and modifying the size of it. As I said in that video, we need to be able to draw a 2D shape first, and then that 2D shape gets extruded, or we add thickness to that shape. And that's going to be the case for anything that we draw in Onshape that is 3D. It's always going to start off as a 2D profile that turns into a 3D one. So once we've got our 2D shape, which you can see here, I've got my rectangle. It's a 300 long by 140 wide rectangle drawn in the top plane, so as if I'm looking down on it from a bird's eye view. To turn this into a 3D piece, alright, I'm aiming to make it 19mm thick, like a 140 by 19mm piece of timber. Right next to our sketch button we have our extrude tool. That is right here in the top left hand corner. Alright, the keyboard shortcut for the extrude tool is Shift E, or we can just click on it. So I'm going to click on the extrude tool. Just like the sketch, we get a window pop up with a whole heap more options for what we're going to do with our extrude tool. The default for this is for it to be solid and a new shape. In this instance, this is what we want because we are creating a new 3D object. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the depth of my extrusion. This is telling me how thick I'm going to make the piece. So the default for this is always 25mm. We're going to change it to the thickness that we want, which is 19. Alright, if you were working with 12mm timber and you want it to be 12mm, you would type in 12, or whatever thickness you want your end drawing to be. You're going to change that depth to that particular number. You can then press enter, and that will become the depth. The next thing you're going to do is we need to select what it is we want to make that thickness. So if I hover my mouse over my rectangle, you can see the outskirts of the rectangle go yellow. That means when I click, I'll be selecting that rectangle. So I'm going to click on that rectangle, and you can see that it extrudes it upwards, and it's giving us our 19mm thickness. If for some reason we wanted the extrusion to go down instead of up, we have this arrow to select, and we can click the arrow and it will go down instead. It doesn't really matter at this point, but later on while using Onshape, you might need to do the extrusion up or down for whatever reason. So that's how we change the direction in which we're extruding, up or down, by selecting the arrow. And we've now made a basic 3D shape that would be equivalent to a piece of 140mm by 19mm timber, 300mm long. When I'm happy with it, I can click on my tick in the extrude section, and I have my solid bit of timber.